Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk specifically about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about the Unbound identity theory. All right, so Scott Garibay, let's go through my name. My name is Scott Garibay. My name is John Scott Garibay, but you'll also hear me refer to myself as J. Scott Garibay. I wrote 2 novels, and I also wrote a tabletop role-playing game, and my writer's name is J. Scott Garibay. All right, so Scott Garibay, have put forward the theory of unbound identity. So I'm going to explain what unbound identity is, and I'm going to explain what I'm doing with it next. Okay. All right. So let's talk about unbound identity. My theory, unbound identity. So what is Scott Garibay's theory, unbound identity? So the unbound identity theory, my theory, unbound identity, is the theory that in 1974, Gary Gygax launched a human improvement engine, which was specifically designed to spark and guide the next level of human intellectual evolution. And Gary Gygax launched his human improvement engine by publishing what he called a game. But what he was publishing was actually his human improvement engine disguised as a game. And the reason he disguised it was so that it would get that his human improvement engine would get massive engagement with humanity before anyone realized what he did. That is the unbound identity theory. Let's talk about a little more about it, right? So one, I'm convinced, and there's strong evidence of this, that I'm the only person on the planet Earth that believes this theory right now. Okay? So today I'm announcing my playlist on unbound identity. I have tried to convince others that my theory is correct for a long time, right? Probably about 2 years, I'd say. Maybe more than that, right? But I've failed to convince anyone, right? And the reason why is, why did I fail? Well, it's hard. It's hard to convince people of a theory, right? Charles Darwin still, hasn't convinced everybody, right? Like he's got a theory too, theory of evolution, right? And he's having a hard time getting some people to come over, right? Like, and convince people that his theory is correct, right? So one, convincing people of a theory is challenging, right? And so that's one reason I failed. The other reason I failed is I'm kind of an intense, adamant person, and I chose my own path to convince people, and it didn't work, right? But I don't give up. I do not give up. I don't stop, right? That's a Garibay original there for you. John Scott Garibay, don't stop. So I failed, but I'm going to try again, right? Now here's my new path, right? So this is the first of a playlist, and in this playlist, so one, I need to convince you of a theory, right? That's going to take a lot of evidence. I'm going to need to present a lot of evidence, and my intent is for this playlist to allow me to use 10-minute videos, because that's generally what I do, right? It's hard for me to talk about a subject at length if I do 10-minute videos, but YouTube supplies the solution, and I love this solution that YouTube is supplying because I can just take the time I need to explain fully and put in one simple place a playlist, literally the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, and the how. I'm going to answer literally every single one of those questions about unbound. My intention is to answer every single one of those questions about unbound identity, right? And a good friend of mine was like, Scott, why don't you write a white paper about this? And I'm like, I don't even want to write no white paper about this. Why? So, 4 academics can squawk about it in some corner of the world and nobody else even knows. But the power of YouTube is incredible, right? So I'm going to present my evidence, right? And then you guys can come at me right in the comments and say, hey, this is not sourced, right? Or this is incorrect, or this is my opinion on what you said, right? And then in the description area, not only I put my content here, right? I can't really change the video of what, you can't edit a video the way you can edit prose, but in the description, I can actually respond. So one, I can respond to people in the comments, and I can clarify things I learn in the description, right? So that by the time I'm done with this playlist, this will be just like Wikipedia, essentially a peer-reviewed, right, discourse on my theory of unbound identity, right? And I'm excited about this because it makes it accessible, right? It's not just going to sit in some, silly Ivy League university basement somewhere where a few academic wonks can, debate over it. This will be a public debate, and I can present my evidence. You can come at me in the comments, and I can clarify what my current stance in the description, right? And I think this is a great way to talk about a meaty subject that I've been trying to communicate for a long time, and I think this playlist is a better way for me to communicate it. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to use Charles Darwin as my model, right? He had a theory just like me. He presented his evidence, and and moved forward. And so so that's my intention. All that is my opinion, and I'd love to and I'm going to be presenting my theory here. The playlist is already started, and you should see more videos here soon. Thank you very much for giving this some thought, and please consider liking, subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.